Hi there, I'm Stacy, the Encaustic mixed media artist behind Studio Stacy. Encaustic literally means to burn in. So I paint with beeswax and a torch, and because it's mixed media, pretty much anything else I can get my hands on. If you're new around here, welcome. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Consider subscribing and joining this artsy community. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up button, which helps me get introduced to more like-minded artsy folks like yourself. We are taking a break from the pole barn today and going to attempt to put up some pegboard here in the studio.
I thought we were coming to build Lego.
No Lego. Pegboard.
Taking this show on the road.
Somebody put a plug in the middle.
I need more power. I believe that was the key phrase.
Look at that. It's like we know what we're doing. Somebody had a cleaner studio. This
Just center it.
might be a little bit easier.
Good centered.
And yeah, I would center. Alright, there we go. Pegboard is up. Up here, I might put a shelf or two, maybe just to put some artwork on. Not sure. But the pegboard is there, and now I need to go to storage. Because somewhere in storage, I have a box of pegboard hooks and such. So, yeah. Probably not going to happen today, but sometime I need to run to storage and maybe dig that box out. And the plan for this pegboard is to hang all of my brushes and tools, things like that, off of it to get them off of the rolling cart so I can put some other things in the rolling carts, and then they're easily accessible on the pegboard. Bumping along our road here, and we are headed out to our storage unit. We are hoping to take back a few boxes, including some for the studio pegboard. So fingers crossed that we can find it. Let's find out. Welcome to the storage unit. And I believe
Are your friends coming to help?
I believe Matt has found the box we're looking for.
Pegboard hooks and jars, beads, pins, wool felt, and wire. You get it all. Special today only.
In the studio this afternoon, we went to storage, and the plan is to get some pegboard hooks up on that pegboard. The box was buried a bit in the back of storage. I'll insert a video here now of our storage unit. It's a bit of a disaster. We thought it was more organized perhaps than it actually is, but still a lot to get out of there, but it's getting there. At any rate, today the plan is to get the hooks up on the pegboard and then hopefully hang some paintbrushes, things like that. Just get a little bit more organized in here, and then I kind of want to show you what else I'm going to do with that pegboard. For those of you that have been with me for a little while, you will probably remember the pegboard and shelves that I had in my old studio in Ohio. If I can find a video on that or pictures, I'll insert those here now. But basically I had glass jars, a shelf above the pegboard, and then glass jars mounted to that shelf that you could twist off and take off. I'm sure you've seen this in many other storage ideas and storage areas, but so this box is also full of these glass shelves, and I am undecided about whether to put a shelf on top of this pegboard or not. I don't want to like box myself in because this is my main work surface in this particular studio. And I'm not sure if a shelf would just make it feel like too closed in. So at any rate, all that to say, I think these glass jars I'm just going to put in a container for now and put them up in that loft area. And yeah, we'll see where that goes. But that was a long way to say why these glass jars are here and what I'm doing with these glass jars. The other thing with these glass jars is that most of the items in them were sewing items. My pegboard and shelves were mainly used for my sewing area, so none of that, at least as of right now, is going to come into the studio. I think the plan is to maybe put it upstairs in the barn, like in the loft area up there. I'm not sure yet. Time will tell. That's a whole nother project for a whole nother day. Probably, I don't know, middle of this year sometime. But at any rate, most of these glass jars I'm just going to put back in a box because they're sewing items that I'm not going to be using in the studio. I am still going to stick them up there in the loft just so that they're out of our storage unit and one less box out of there. And I do, believe it or not, still have some space up there. So this huge box to get out these few metal pieces. There we go. The finished tool area pegboard. I think it came out pretty well, and there's definitely room to grow. I emptied out most of the tool area in this cart. These long paintbrushes I decided to leave in here. They just seem to work best in the cup. And then of course I have the popsicle sticks, and some of these tools don't have holes or anything in them. And so I just decided to leave them in here. And they're the tools that I don't use that often, except for these pencils, but I think they're already pretty accessible. How I had the tools in here, they were not extremely accessible. As you can see, these cups were probably really stuffed full of all of the tools that are now on the pegboard. And I had an idea for this half of the pegboard, which I think I'm actually going to not do. But let me tell you what it was, just in case. So I thought what I was going to do with that area of the pegboard was use it to keep track of what I think is going to be a future series. So I have these separate envelopes, and I'm looking down because I'm looking at the envelopes. Maybe I'll flip the camera around and show you. It's probably easier. But they're labeled research, draw, sketch, photos and images, and paint. And basically what I was going to do with these envelopes is make separate cards for the different trees. In theory, I think that's what I'm going to be painting, that I'm going to be painting. And so I would have a card for, say, a white pine. And I would do research on it first. That would be step number 1. And then sketch, draw, take photos, images, and finally paint that. So I would be moving that card in between the research to the sketch and draw, to the photos and images, to then the paint envelope. But I don't know, I think that's going to be kind of clunky because maybe I'll be doing research while I'm sketching and drawing, you know, so it's not really like first this step, then this step, then this step, then this step. So I think I'm nixing that envelope idea, and I wanted to have it in the studio like as a reminder of what I kind of want to be working on. Maybe, I don't know if should's the right word, but like, so I have this goal kind of in my head, and it'll be like front and center. But instead, what I think I'm gonna do is I'm going to draw and still sketch these trees out, and I'm gonna put those sketches in that half of the pegboard. So just hang them on little clips and hang them up on that half of the sketchboard instead of using these envelopes. And instead, what I'm going to be doing is keeping track of all of this in Trello on the computer and on my phone. Super easy. If you guys have been here a while, you've heard me talk about Trello a gazillion times, but it's a great way for me to keep track of everything and be able to jot down ideas and not have to handwrite everything out. Yeah, so, and also keep track of ideas on the go because I can keep it on my phone as well. So I think that's my plan.
So I just wanted to share with you that I think Trello is going to work out really well for this project. Hopefully the screen is somewhat clear for you, but as you can see, each tree has a card to it where I've been able to add more of a description in using several different references, and then of course being able to reference those references. And then also each tree has a checklist or the same checklist. So they all have different categories or let's see, how do I say this? Each card for each tree looks the same. And I have the research that I want to do for each card. And so they all are duplicates of the same card in different trees. And then when I move them over to this research list, it automatically populates a checklist that I made for myself for each tree. And so each tree has the same kind of a card going on and the same checklist for the research that I want to do on the different trees. So it's a really easy way to keep track of it all. And I think it's going to work out beautifully. Also, you can alphabetize each of these lists so I can keep track of what trees I've done the research on and what trees I need to draw more and things like that. It's just super easy. Love the program. Can't say enough good things about Trello.
Good morning. It is a bit of a chilly start to the day, so I thought I would come over to the studio, and I wanted to take a quick moment to answer a question I got a few videos back about what my goals and plans are for 2023. I've been getting ready for this year by spending quite a bit of time on that thing back there, backing up all of my videos and files from 2022. And while the computer spins, I've had a bit of time to reflect on this past year and kind of reflect towards what I might want to do this year. So now I thought would be a good time, since it's still kind of the beginning of the year still, to share some of those goals and plans with all of you. Last year, I spent a lot of time planning out most of my year. So if you are interested in a more in-depth planning video, I'll link that down below in the description, and also I think it'll be over here. I'll stick a card in over here and you can go watch that video on how I plan out my year. This year, however, I decided to take a more simpler, kind of laid back approach, as I really want to focus on being a little bit more relaxed this year and a little bit more present, if you will. So this year, I thought I would just kind of list out some of my goals and future plans, and I will also share them with you now. I'm gonna just stick them in a notebook and keep the notebook handy, and just, like I said, have a more relaxed, laid back approach to planning out the year. So here we go. Let's start with my personal goals first. Number one on this list is more painting and experimenting and exploring creativity. I really want to take time to just paint for the sake of painting, create for the sake of creating, not to have a set project in mind. And I think really what's going to happen with that is it's going to lead down a path to set projects. So I really, really, really want to spend more time in this space, in this lovely studio. So I'm going to set a bit of a goal. You're hearing it here first. Somebody keep me accountable. I'm going to try to spend every day here in the studio, well, Monday through Friday, here in the studio for at least 2 hours. Now, I know that doesn't sound like a lot of time, but believe it or not, it's a lot of time compared to what I have been spending in here. And things are starting to wind down a little bit on the barn project. We still have a lot more to go. I'm going to be researching less things over there, spending less time over there, and then in turn, hoping to spend more time in the studio. So somebody hold me accountable, 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday here in this space, just creating for the sake of creating. And if nothing else, maybe I'll just come over here and organize. And I also might just work on the new series. I would also like to spend more time outside and more time just kind of being. I don't know if that makes sense. More time being present, I think, is the more accurate thought behind it. When we first moved into this property, we spent a lot of time outside, kind of because we were forced to in a way, without having indoor plumbing and such. Running up a hill to go to the bathroom forced you outside. And it also forced you to kind of take a look around. It didn't matter what time of day it was. It forced you to take a look around, pay attention to your surroundings. And it also forced me to kind of take a look up at the night sky, breathe a little bit, and just enjoy the great outdoors. So I am really hoping to do more of that. If just it's hiking around our property, it is so pretty here. And yeah, that is another personal goal of mine. And kind of one last personal goal is cooking more. Back to the barn. I know I keep saying the barn stuff, but it's a big part of our life. And it's almost to the point where I can actually cook bigger home-cooked meals in there. And I'm really excited to do that. Not that I wasn't doing a lot of cooking in the camper, but it was a lot of one pot, small dishes, small curry dishes, and I didn't do a whole lot of experimenting and creating in the kitchen because it was a small space and a very small sink to wash dishes in. So I am really looking forward to getting back to cooking. I love to actually cook in the kitchen, and I like to kind of experiment with different recipes, maybe add my own twist on things. And yeah, really looking forward to that too. So another kind of plan slash goal coming forward here in 2023 is to do more homemade cooking. And I know I said that was the last personal goal, but I just thought of one more. And it also has to do with kind of creating for the sake of creating, keeping myself more present. You'll see a huge theme going on here. And that is I would like to get back into crocheting more, whether it's socks or blankets, or I like the act of keeping my hands moving, and it's kind of somewhat of a mindless thing because I know how to crochet already. It's pretty easy to just kind of get lost in the art of just crocheting. And so yeah, I'm really looking forward to also doing that. All right, moving on to Studio Stacy business goals and plans. Number one, I really need to update my website and my newsletter. It is very outdated. In fact, it still has Ohio studio pictures on it. So I really need to do that. I've been putting it off. But it's time. I need to get into this space, take a bunch of still photography pictures, get them on the website, and also get my welcome sequence newsletter updated to this studio as well. I had somebody email me the other day about my fantastic Ohio studio, and I had to reply back and say, oopsies, I'm no longer there. So a big, huge goal, and it'll probably take me a week or two to get it fully updated, which is also probably why I've been putting it off. It's not a fun task, but it needs to be done. One of my goals last year that is kind of carrying through to this year is more personal connections, more business personal connections, if that makes any sense to you. Through my newsletter, I really want to offer my newsletter subscribers more behind the scenes sneak peeks, and dare I say, it's coming soon. It's another to-do list, but I am going to be creating a video and supply list for my newsletter subscribers only for basic Encaustic supplies. So I'm going to do a comprehensive list. I get asked questions all the times in videos, what's this, what's that, and I'm going to do a comprehensive list with a comprehensive video to go with that for my newsletter subscribers only. If you're interested and want to subscribe, I would love to have you. I'll put the link down below to do that if you're interested. I also want to build more connections here on YouTube. I'm not going to leave you guys out, don't worry. My goal is to paint in here more and be in the studio more, so maybe 2 videos a week, maybe. That's a big maybe. But I really do love this community here, and I love building this community. I love reading all of your comments. They bring me such joy, and I love answering all the questions and responding back to the comments. So I really want to continue to build this community here. And yeah, human connections, it's important. Even though it's via the internet, it's still important. Another Studio Stacy business goal or plan is Instagram, social media. I have taken a huge break from it, and I think mainly it is because of the lack of connection and engagement, I feel anyways. There's a lot of just quick scrolling and 2-second videos, and I have such a hard time with that, and I know I need to get over it. I need to, oh, there's snow sloughing off the roof, so if you're hearing that, that is snow coming off of the roof. At any rate, I really need to find a way to make Instagram specifically more joyful and a kind of a happy place to go and post to, because I don't mind posting to it. I just hate the constant scroll, and I'm guilty of it. I'm sure everybody is guilty of it. So, you know, I also have an issue with it. But at any rate, I need to, if you guys have any suggestions, if you're posting on Instagram frequently and you're enjoying it, can you tell me what is making it enjoyable for you? Maybe I can live vicariously through you. Let me know. All right, hopefully you're still sticking with me here. I have 2 more Studio Stacy goals. The first one is to participate in the Port Warwick, Virginia art show again. I love it. I've done it the past 2 years, and it's been wonderful. The people that put it on are great. We get, usually the weather's not horrible. Had some rain, but it's not horrible, and the crowds are just lovely, wonderful people. So I would really like to get into that show. Fingers crossed I will. It's not quite time to apply yet, but pretty soon it will. And then I also might look for an art show festival here locally in West Virginia. So I have just started, not even really started, to do some research on that. If any of you know of a good art show in West Virginia or art festival that happens over a weekend, let me know. I would love to know. Then the very last business goal for Studio Stacy is to try to complete this series that I've slowly been working on, the tree series, kind of merging human connections and human things with the trees. it's going to be a long process. I'm hoping maybe to have it ready by the fall. I don't know. We'll see. That is my goal. I'm hoping to have it ready to take to the Virginia Art Show if I get in, fingers crossed. And yeah, so I really want to try to work towards that goal. I'm going to use the word we a lot here in these next set of goals, as these are joint goals that Matt and I have both talked about that we would love to do and kind of plan for in the upcoming year. First on the list is travel more. Not real far away travel, not via airplane or anything like that. We would love to take the camper and go traveling and explore this beautiful state that we have been so fortunate to move to. So we really want to do that, a lot of that coming in the spring and summer and into the fall months this year. Right now it's a little chilly, so I think we're probably not going to be doing a whole lot of that this winter. However, we also really want to get out and explore, just do a day trip here or there locally and do some hiking and perhaps maybe some skiing. I don't know, well, time will tell here, but that is definitely a big goal of ours. Travel more, take some weekends off of the pole barn and go exploring this beautiful state. We also would really like to slow down a bit and explore and enjoy our property more. Perhaps have some picnics outside on the porch in the studio here. We used to do that pretty frequently in the summer months, but maybe we'll get a chance to do it a few warmer days here in the winter and just really take the time to explore our property. And of course, if you know us, you know this could be a bit difficult to just kind of sit and relax for us, as neither one of us sit very well. Starting a garden, maybe a container garden, something small, I think. Perhaps planting some native perennials and some native trees on our property is also another goal that we both have. We have some big, huge, lofty goals for future plans years down the road for this property. More of an off-grid, sustainable type of lifestyle even. So for now, we're gonna start small with planting a couple trees and a garden. This we thought we could accomplish this year and see how we like it. Also see what grows here, because first time living here, no idea what grows. So I'm doing a ton of research for, of course, the Studio Stacy project, but also for our personal benefit. And of course, there is the Barnminium pole barn to house conversion project that is still going to be continuing. The person that asked about my goals and plans for 2024 kind of joked about that could not be one of these goals, but it is. You guys know it. We have to, or we don't have to, but we will definitely be continuing to work on the pole barn, Barnminium, maybe putting a little bit of brakes on things now that we're in there more comfortably. We do still have a couple big projects to do in the Barnminium, so I'll be taking you guys along for that. But like I said, we're going to be kind of maybe pumping the brakes a bit and slowing down on those projects. So that's it. All of the goals, plans, dreams for 2023, personal, joint goals, and of course, business goals. Hope you're going to stick with me as we navigate through 2023. And if you're so inclined to share some of your dreams, goals, plans for 2023, I would love to know. Let me know down there below in the comments or drop me an email. I'd really like to know what your dreams are. I think this is also where I'm going to leave you for this video. If you're down there leaving me a comment or answering a question, if you don't mind hitting that thumbs up button, it really does help me out. If you're not subscribed, consider doing so and following along on 2023. As always, thanks so very, very, very much for watching. Keep those comments and questions coming. I'm happy to answer any of them. We will talk to you soon. Bye for now.